Likewise, likewise. Welcome home.
Awesome. So,
Are we recording right now or just seeing each other?
yep, we're recording. And so, yeah,
Did
do
you
you
bring
want?
did you bring anything to drink?
I'm sure I could get it, but
I always keep a supply inside my body, so I'm always good.
maybe I'll go get some so I can do a cheers with you.
A communion. Well, Troy's going to come back. He's going to go to the bathroom or somewhere. Maybe he'll pee in the kitchen, and he'll return, and we'll do a pee morning. He knows where I stand now. When I bring my holy water to the table, he knows I'm wanting to talk about the holy water. Hi. So what's going to happen is they're going to just do their thing. Thank you.
I got some aged. The real
Oh,
deal.
mine is June 6th. This is a 3-month old.
Okay, so this is about 3 years old.
Close enough. So you want to say the toast or shall I?
Okay, God bless us all. God bless humanity. Peace on earth is coming, baby.
Ching, ka-ching. It's a joy to pee in your presence. Lovely time we're having on this planet. And today, woo! I know, it always has this, wait for it. The second taste is going to come.
Whew, I mean, that's powerful medicine. 3-year-old,
You
3-year
always,
urine.
you always learn to respect it when you take that in.
Yes, yes, big time.
Big
So
time.
awesome.
So your orbit, Troy Casey world, and Brother Sage world was meant to collide at this moment in time and space. So here we are, and I'm honored to be in your presence. And where this conversation is going to go, who knows? But I do have some questions for you.
Awesome.
We're gonna get go ahead.
Can you bring up a little bit of your background first and foremost, and kind of set up the whole interview?
Yeah, I've been a wellness practitioner since 1979.
Wow.
And I've been working steady all these years. I probably worked on about 38,000 clients, did a lot of festivals and health fairs and corporate events and marathons and blah, blah, blah. And I still have the practice going, but and over the years, I studied with Leonard Orr and Sandra Ray, and I'm a Course in Miracles student. I studied with Louise Hay, Victoris Kovinskas. I got into raw foods in 1977. And that put me in a direction that I will be eternally grateful for.
Wow, that's some powerful people that you've worked with. So how long have you been doing breath work?
I've been breathworking since 1980.
Wow.
And that's when I got to work with Leonard Orr and Sandra Ray, and they also activated what's called physical immortality.
Wow, and how many runs around the sun have you done?
66.
Wow, man. Your
But
vitality.
I don't practice aging, so I have no clue what that means.
Awesome.
It's overrated. It's overrated. You have another question?
No, yeah, just go ahead. Let's get into it. Let's dive deep, baby. I don't do the urine therapy videos unless somebody asks, and I'm really happy to share my experience. And then, of course, hear it from other experts. How long have you been practicing, Shivambu?
1994. And I got into it not so much because I read Golden Fountain by Cohen Vanderkroon. That was my Bible. And I read Youthing by Leonard Orr. And he talks about the Dhamma Tantra, the 9-year course, how to achieve immortality and heal everything. But what really got me is that Leonard Orr is a student of Babaji. And Babaji, as many of his devotees refer to him as Shiva. You know, the Lord of the universe, the creator, the destroyer, his wonderful partner, Pavarti, and all that. So when he told me that Shiva told him to tell me to drink my pee, I'm going, sign me up. You got my attention. I didn't even think about anything.
Yeah, I tried it first time. It was 2005. I was driving in my car. I didn't want to stop. I was going to San Francisco from LA, and I had heard about it. I heard good things, and I was like, let me try it. And sure enough, I just drank my first, I peed in a big, shaker bottle cup and sitting in my car, and I killed the whole thing. It was probably 20 ounces, and I was hooked from there.
So you didn't have to go through, like a lot of people go through, the gag response, because they still have an association of what they were taught it was. So you passed all that.
Yeah, went right through it. I said, hey, that's not that bad. And it's got an interesting energetic, and then it couples with all the information that I had heard about it. And I figured, I think those yogis might have known something a little bit more than me. So let me just try it.
Yeah, they did. And they've been at it for millenniums, many, many millenniums. Is there something that, so it wasn't because you had a health challenge, it's just that you were curious.
Yeah, I was curious, and I'd been working with Amazon Herb Company for a while. So I was used to kind of esoteric knowledge and information. And it made sense to me that, the panacea doesn't really exist. But if it did, it would make sense that it comes from you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I really like the metaphor of taking you, collecting you, and returning to you to restore you to perfection and great health again.
Yes.
We are the ultimate recyclers.
I love it.
So what made you decide to create the character, Dr. P.P. Shivambu, and bring that kind of education or entertainment, which I loved it, to the world?
Well, Eric Casano, who also studied with one of Leonard Orr's students, and they studied the Himalayan style of it. Is it a 5-path? But they do the elements. So they bury you in the dirt, and you do the breath work before the fire. And so I think it's 5 elements breath work, I think is what it's called. And so he came on to one of my workshops early on. This was 2017, I do believe. And he came, and he told me about breath work and how, since I was into urine therapy, and he gave me a lot of credit. He's like, I've been doing urine therapy, but I don't want to tell it online. And he's like, I thank you for doing it. And I was like, all right, that's cool. I don't meet so many people that are into urine therapy. And then he's like, dude, you got to try the breath work. And I was like, can you teach something within 5 minutes? Because I had a 3-hour workshop. And he said, yeah. And we did it. And I was hooked right then. And then he came over my house to do holotropic with me. And he started talking more about urine therapy and how he cured himself of testicular cancer, and how he was a Swedish national. So he returned to Sweden for the chemotherapy, which was free. And then the chemotherapy didn't work. And then they said, we're going to take out your lymph nodes. And Eric Casano is his name. And he said, no, I might need my lymph nodes, And so he went back and researched, studied, found urine therapy, looped his urine for 3 weeks, and they couldn't find the cancer. And so that was the beginning for him. And then he challenged me to a 7-day urine fast where we looped our urine for 7 days. And I went for it. And he was teaching me a lot of breath work at the time. And I was having a lot of challenges in my marriage and trying to assess what was mine and what wasn't mine. And at the same time, I had a lot of emotional stuff I was going through, and the holotropic helped me immediately. And from there, I took his Bastrika, which he taught me at the workshop, which only takes like 5-10 minutes to complete, one of those rounds or 3 of those rounds. And I instantly noticed relief in the anxiety that I was having and the emotional stuff. And I could at least be cognizant and carry on with my day. So that began my breathwork journey, at the same time doing more deeper introspection of the urine therapy, because I had been drinking my middle P and my P whenever I got around to it. But this got me much more dedicated. And then he taught me about aged, and then we were working so much together, and he's got a good sense of humor and he likes my sense of humor. And like a lot of people that make videos, it stresses them out. So I brought as much comedic relief to it. And then he's like, Shivambu, he wanted to give it the proper name and, give it the respect. And I'm like, all right, cool. And then I was like, we're talking about pee-pee, and I was like, Dr. Pee-pee Shivambu. And, I put it all together, and, because you don't want to claim you're a doctor because you can get in trouble for that. And so I made it into a big joke. He wanted to be all serious about it. And so that's been our little cat and mouse ever since. I was just on the phone with him the other day. Somebody made a parody video of our aged urine video, and told us how crazy we were. And I got back to him, and the guy was like, yeah, this guy calls himself a doctor. And I said, that's why you need to call yourself Dr. Pee-pee Shivambu, and not come off like you're a doctor. And so he got that. And so we talk still a lot. And he's been doing great breath work. He worked with one of my business partners and buried him, did 5 days in the 5 elements. It was a 5-day retreat, buried him in the ground. He came back. He was in a relationship. He got really clear on his relationship. But then he got back in the business saddle, and he's just taken off in business and in relationships. And that was, I want to say it was like December, and this guy's life completely changed. And so that's Ra of Earth. You can find him on Instagram. A yogi in his own right, advanced to a certain level. He's a top CrossFitter in the world, top 0.1% of CrossFitters. And his life changed dramatically working with Dr. Pee-pee. So Dr. Pee-pee is a wealth of information. He's a great guy, and that's who really took my urine therapy up to the next level. And
well, I jumped on. I was telling Curtis my book, which I sent you a copy of on email. That came out in 2018, and within a month, I'm on radio shows and television shows. I ended up being on 27 radio shows and 3 television shows. They came to my home in Boulder, and then I put together local meetings at the library to show people we got to take it offline, because there's people offline that are sick and they're looking for alternatives and they're desperate. And so they did a great interview, and we ended up getting like 20,000 views on that thing. You never know where it's going to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and that's good that you're taking it out to the mainstream. And then we're working on my man clan right now. We're going to have 1,000 men very soon, probably within a year, and then bigger globally. But 1,000 guys in person, and I'll have you come out and teach, man, for sure.
Sedona?
Yeah, we might even come to your neck of the woods, man. I'm willing to do events everywhere.
Well, wonderful. Well, right now I'm living in a place called Sanctuary Garden. It was my refuge and my salvation. I was living with a housemate and an office mate. They were having fear-demic meltdown, and they were so paranoid. Of course, they were watching CNN 24/7. Hello. And they said, you can't bring your clients, and you can't bring your friends, and you can't bring your lovers. I said, I can't live here. So I collapsed my office in my apartment and moved in with my dear friend, and now live in the country.
Wow, that's great. Especially now, because it's like you got to be away from. It's not if somebody watches TV or not. It's that the world around you watches it, so it's going to permeate you. And so I've noticed, just being in Sedona and working with my team and my family, we live in our own little bubble. We're not affected. When I do my research, I see that the world is burning right now, and but we're living in our own little microcosm, which helps us be strong with our prayers and intentions.
Thank you. And that's the question I wanted to ask you. And by the way, I love your work. I love your presence. I love your energy and your spirit. And don't ever stop being true to you. What you're doing is a great example for a whole lot of people.
Well, thanks for recognizing that. I do have a lot of trolls that like to come at me, and so I got to keep that. I got to keep my energy high because that henpecking does wear on you a little bit, and so it's good that I'm making a mark and I'm helping people just be happier ultimately.
So I've been pumping out a lot of videos about giving love more airtime than fear,
Mm.
because there's plenty of that being distributed, even from the spiritual and new age people. They want to post this and post that and post that. I said, we're not talking about what matters to my heart, and that's that you're a being, a human being with a great soul, and I want to bring you alive. And so what is it that you do to stay calm, centered, and sane during the day?
Well, first of all, drink my urine first thing in the morning. That's kind of a non-negotiable. I did the math on that one. And, I like to take multiple showers to clear my energetic field daily. I like to hydrate myself in the morning, make sure that I've got, plenty of minerals. So I do the urine therapy as well as hydrate with water and other nutrients. I like to fast most of the day. So I'll either drink my own urine, or I'll drink green juice, or I'll drink fresh squeezed juice, or I like to take herbs. I take an herbal salad, usually dried capsules of herbs every day. And then I like to move my body. So preferably in nature. And I will show everybody, this is the nature that I live in. And so I basically just have to go outside, and it's
nice.
everywhere. And so my main methodology is to move my body, get that kinetic energy cruising along, get my vibration high. And then I like to start my day getting on the phone with whoever I need to do business with, and not work too hard, work smart, and make a lot of video and film my lifestyle, which is a nature-based lifestyle. And then I like to get good sleep and go to sleep early. I eat only organic food. And I spend a lot of time with my children. That's very important. I spend a lot of time with my wife, and keep moving forward with any kind of emotional stuff that we have coming up. And I think a lot of it's being churned up right now in our society and world, this quickening, this awakening that we're going through. And check in with honesty. And I work with a handful of practitioners. I work with Andrew Eckert. He's a Native American teacher. He does drum building, but he specializes in nonviolent communication. I've been studying that, or exposed to it, for at least 17 years. It's hard when our language is steeped in violence. So it's very challenging to study it for that long and master it, which the essence of is I feel a certain way. We're honest with our feelings. We take responsibility for our feelings. And then we express our needs. I need, and we ask for help. Can you help me with this? If you're my partner or my business partner, et cetera. And so we've been studying that. And I practiced Vipassana meditation religiously for many years. And then I was guided to just live and feel it, because it's insight meditation. So I can feel my shirt on my body right now, the water dripping off the back of my neck after I took a shower. And so I like to stay in tune with myself as much as possible. I'm not sitting as much as I used to. I was sitting 2 hours a day. And so that vacillates. I'd like to get back to my meditation, but I use mostly my barefoot walking as meditation, and and really just check in. And socializing is another non-negotiable. Barefoot walking in grass is a non-negotiable. So I need all these things. I need multiple showers per day, or cold water therapy, or jumping in the creek here, or when I was living in LA, in the ocean. So those are the main things that I do to keep my vibrations high and my stress levels low.
Beautiful. So, and this is the things that you've been teaching at some of your workshops?
Yeah, I put everything I wanted to, because I do a lot of workshops. I do men's stuff. I do relationship seminars with my wife. So I put everything in the 9 pillars in my book. And my workshops are all taught from the 9 pillars. In physics, they call them first principles, and they're
Mm-hmm.
just a basic foundation. And so that's everybody needs water, everybody needs organic nutrition, sleep.
Mm-hmm.
We got to check in with our thinking and reprogram and deprogram with either hypnosis, psychedelics, if it's right for the right person. But again, psychedelics, I need to stress the point because people are taking them like candy and not being very responsible for them.
Sure.
Both the new shamans as well as the new people taking them, and they can see divinity, but that's only half the work, or maybe even a small percentage of the work. And so
They get to take a peek, and
correct.
yeah,
And then
and then they want another peek. But at what point are they okay to step away because they realize it was them?
correct. So a lot of work and a lot of explanation to be done around that. They're also illegal, so everybody needs to be concerned with that, unless they go to Peru or Mexico or Costa Rica, where they are legal. And that's usually where I take my groups and recommend people go. And so, yeah, just that honesty and keep going. We've never arrived. I got trapped into that, sat a bunch of Vipassana courses. You think you're better than others, or you're more advanced or whatever, and then the universe gives you a little can of whoop ass on that, and then
You're on your knees. Yeah, you're on your knees again.
and
Yeah.
so I choose to stay on my knees and be grateful for everything, and please let me stay as humble as I possibly can with my outward personality, and so yeah, I forgot which question you actually asked, but that's a little
Yeah,
bit of my process.
yeah, you pretty much answered it. I was looking at your practices that you do every day, and you said which ones are non-negotiable. The things that keep you present, mindful, aware, and calm the whole time.
Yeah, so I put it into the 9 pillars. We got to get our thinking on check, our breathing mechanics, which is very important. So I have some Qigong exercises to help people reprogram their diaphragm and their breathing mechanics. Um, our relationship to nature, and our relationship to each other, working with forgiveness and resentment as the best we can to lessen the burden as much as possible. And ultimately for men, I think it's really important to figure out our dream, purpose, and legacy. It's more important for men because if women get pregnant, there is their legacy. It's right
Mm-hmm.
there for them.
Mm-hmm.
And the nourishment and the nurturing of the children is very important. And so, movement as medicine. So the 9 pillars is how I really compartmentalize not only my own lifestyle, but also my teaching modules for the men that I work with and the other people that follow my work.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds kind of similar to what I've been practicing all these decades, which is you've heard the term holistic health. Then it became known as wellness,
Mm-hmm.
a wellness practitioner. And when someone comes to me, I've been doing a lot of urine therapy consultations with people in Africa and India and Israel and,
Really?
and UK. Yeah, they've met me on social media. They give me a private messenger, and I do an initial consultation. And then I move into, well, if we're going to do a consultation, I'm charging for that. So they'll know this is going to be a serious discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And when they just talk about the urine therapy, no, you go chew. When people are just talking about urine therapy and they ask a question, this is something for you to remember. They say, can urine therapy heal cancer, diabetes, AIDS, blah, blah? And my answer is always yes and no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not going to do all the things required to change your diet, your lifestyle, your state of mind, and work on yourself, it's going to be a Band-Aid and you're going to get a little incremental healing.
Good for you. And people don't like to hear that, do they?
Well, I'm going to tell them. Because if people come to me, I want to go through what I call quantum healing. Let's just collapse the time, clear out your old belief systems, domestication programming, and let's get you on track so you can make more powerful decisions and put your life going, get purposeful.
Yeah. And that is where the rubber meets the road, because you're going to come into close contact and face what's holding you back, which is ultimately you. You are an unlimited being.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a big jump to go from zero to hero. So yes, the urine therapy will help. And yes, you need organic food. And yes, your body needs to move. And so good for you. Good for you. So you're working with people in Africa as well. And your clients must get results, yes?
They're getting results. The ones that stay with me, 3 to 5 consultations. We do check-ins and follows up. I want them to keep a journal. I'm looking for people that are really serious about getting their health back and their state of mind. And those are the ones who'll do the work and don't end up being, and you've heard these people, been there, done that. Oh, I tried Troy's work. I've been there. I did that. But we want people to take it to heart and nothing will stop them.
Yes, my meditation teacher used to talk about that. And, people go from here to there, and then they never, it's like looking for water. You could dig here, you can dig there, you can dig there, or you can dig down to bedrock and find it.
Right. So ultimately people will take responsibility and they'll have a life. And when your client or your students have gotten to a point where, they worked out all their challenges and their unconscious stuff, and they're strong and they can stand on their own 2 feet, they're on their own. Your job's done.
Well, and that's what I keep telling, because the internet's full of people looking for followers. I'm not looking for followers. I'm looking for leaders, and I am not your leader. You are. So I'm always going to shine the mirror back to people. I'll lead them back to themselves, and I'll lead them up the mountain. Once we get there, the mirror will be up there as well.
Well, we're going to help remove their obstacles if need be.
Yes.
Again, oh my goodness. So you got here. You're 51 now?
54.
54. Okay. So 54 cycles around the earth. You've learned some things in your journey. You've gone through your highs and your lows, your challenges, your I don't know if you went through addictions, whatever you went through to get clear enough to be standing here talking to me today.
Yes.
So can you give me a little snippet of what you kind of went through to get here?
Well, my parents were hippies back in the 60s. And I did a bunch of research when my children were born, and especially my first child, to really understand my own experience in the womb and coming into this earth. And they say you repeat, the same mistakes that you go through, or the potential is there unless you heal it. So I wanted to look a little bit deeper, and I found out that my parents were fighting physically while I was in the womb. And it makes sense because, I've always been a fighter. And then on top of it, my mother was knocked out cold on drugs, and I was ripped out of her vagina with scalpels. I don't know if you've ever seen those old naval movies. And so that's the way I entered into the world. And then there's a natural way, and the child comes when it wants to come. And it's nice to have a nurturing, nourishing, calm environment to come through. So we work to provide that as much as possible. So again, my parents had their own challenges. My mother left my father at 1.5. We drove out to San Francisco from Connecticut. We came out there. It was the summer of love. So there was a little bit of think different already installed in me coming out of the gate. And then I've been on my own since I was 14. My parents ran into some trouble with the law. My dad was trying to cut corners, and he ended up leaving the country. So I was on my own since I was 14, and put myself through high school. I was incarcerated as a youth. I got in my own challenges. I was arrested for a sheet of acid while I was still a juvenile, which I was lucky for. I probably would have done 10 years. Instead, they locked me up for the last 5 months of my until I turned 18. And it was great because I put myself through my own process. I started lifting weights, started paying attention to my fitness. I was eating 3 meals a day as well. So when you live on your own, you don't always eat. And so I was definitely growing and getting more healthy. And then I put myself through high school. Then I went to college, and then I got an opportunity to model. I got into the fashion industry. I did Versace, which is the top, one of the top brands on the planet. I did that 4 times. I worked with some of the original supermodels. But what I realized that all my dysfunction showed up, and I attracted this very dysfunctional industry that's intertwined with the entertainment industry. A lot of sexual dysfunction, men that are trying to sleep with the girls, and then the homosexual agents trying to sleep with the boys. And it was pretty incestuous and game playing and psychologically lots of passive aggressive, weird side winding sexual games that were being played. And so, and then I used a lot of drugs and alcohol because they're prevalent in that industry. And I had my own wounds and my trauma, and I would just try and kill my pain with drugs and alcohol, which was free and everywhere in that society.
Mm-hmm.
And so after about 7 years in that, I had a rock star phase. I went off the deep end, and then I had to start sobering up. Took me quite a while to sober up. I found Vipassana meditation in 1999. I sat 11 courses of Vipassana, which is about 110 days in silence.
How was that?
It was great. I mean, if you look at the research on neuroplasticity, it makes sense. You know, I rewired a certain portion of my brain. I woke up to a certain level, started working with Maori healers from New Zealand. They work very deeply into the body. They step on the nerve centers, and they're 300 pounds. I mean, they're powerful people. And I witnessed many exorcisms. I had my own exorcism and awakening. I don't know if it was so much of an exorcism as an awakening. And been working with them for 25 years since, doing a lot of volunteer work for them. And I don't do their healing work, although I have that in me. I choose to let the experts do that. And I do some hands-on depending on the client. And then somebody turned me on to an herbal company in the Amazon. I started working with those plants and then drank the ayahuasca. I started working with the shipipo, did a lot of research on the plants, and came out of the jungle. I had 3 profound visions. One was of my daughter that came to me. She was my second child. And I wasn't married. I wasn't in a relationship. My family's been unfolding ever since. An amalgamation of my on-camera career, my natural medicine studies. I've been juicing and cleaning out my gut. So the modeling industry really helped me get in with nutrition because I was bloating from gluten and I didn't know about nutrition. I have a very sensitive stomach. I had emotional issues in my lower intestines. That took me 25 years of my journey to really figure out, get my stomach flat, get my bloating back online. Gluten was a big piece in that. So the modeling industry really stimulated my search into health and nutrition. And then from there, I went to, I got married, and that started to unfold, which is my big spiritual path right now, and my family. But my third vision was that humanity makes it. So in the middle of all my chicanery and certified health nuttery and twisting everybody's panties just to really help them think differently. I'm not telling them what to think. I'm just saying, hey, you might want to look at things a little bit differently over here.
Yeah, open up.
Yeah. And so, so that was, the last vision that I had was that peace on earth is coming. And you said, bring more love into our conversations. And so it's that fine yin yang line. It's like, do I give people information on 5G and vaccine potential dangers? And oil and talk about, banking and debt slave systems, how much of that do I put out and then call forth, peace on earth is coming? Because we have to envision it just like the Wright brothers, in my humble opinion, and the rules of alchemy are at play always. So my methodology is to usher it in and speak it into existence, no different from the Wright brothers wanting to fly like an eagle. So we need some free energy. We need to eliminate fossil fuels. The debt slave system is based on an idea. There is no gold backing to our currencies, and it always changes, and that affects us. So I believe that humanity needs to evolve past money and oil, and that's my peace on earth clarion call. I'm running for president of planet Earth this year. For that express reason, I'm going to subjugate the whole political process and just usher in peace on earth. The thing is my political platform is no joke. I'll go toe to toe with any politician. And I don't have all the answers, but I've got the solutions to pull us to where we need to go. So that's a little bit about my history in a short, less than 10 minutes.
Thank you very much. So you had quite a ride to get here, and that's also given you more structure, more routines, more practices, and
Devotion.
things that devotion. I found that without daily practicing my mantras, doing my exercises, bathing, going for long walks, being with friends. These are the things that keep me not only confident of what I'm doing, courageous to face all the unknown factors in life, but I feel more purposeful now than I ever have.
And when you got that permagrin on your face, I mean, that's priceless.
It ain't going nowhere. Considering when I go out in the public without a mask on, I'm going to shine my face because other people can't shine their face. So
That's right.
I've really enjoyed that.
And that's the true sunshine coming right through you, man.
Amen. Amen. So you're now here, and
Yes.
Troy Casey is in present time at whatever clock it is in Sedona. What do you see yourself bringing out to the world now? I know you have programs in place and you have workshops in place. How do you see yourself presenting yourself now? Is it going to change, or are you going to just stick to the formula that works?
Well, I'm all intuitive and I'm guided by God. So I don't know what's next. So I'm just being present. I have the knowledge base that I have. I do have some great ideas. I'm willing to work with other groups and, be malleable in my own ideas as well. Iron sharpens iron, so please, tell me where I'm off base, that we can't usher in permaculture, self-care education, free energy, and the gift economy. So we're in two worlds right now. We're in the old paradigm and the new paradigm at the same time. So we have to work inside the fiat currency systems right now. So my methodology is to be as strong as I can in the marketplace and have as much influence. I do believe that we are at a sophomore consciousness, Kardashian consciousness, Gucci Mane, what's the other, Cardi B, Nicki Minaj. This is
Still around.
well, this is gaining the eyeballs, right? So where is the consciousness? So I have to play at the third dimensional level, at a certain level, at a high level, at the 3D level, and at the same time speak into existence where we're headed, which, some people call that the fifth dimension. Again, I don't get caught up in to other people's linguistic patterns, but yes, there's a shift coming, and I do believe it's a higher octave. And so I'm caught right in there. And the social media influencer, it's like, how much can I influence and stay balanced at the same time, and also get those eyeballs on and making it inviting, to invite people out to the mountains, to breathe deeper, to jump into cold water, to try organic food. And so business-wise, it's just a microcosm of the macrocosm of what I'm doing. I'm utilizing business. I'm utilizing the tools that the Creator gave me, the gifts that the Creator gave me, my appearance, my genetics, my athletic ability, to attract people in to the new paradigm, to the peace on earth. I have to find peace in my heart first before I can witness it out there. So these things bring me peace, nature and the 9 pillars and relationships and letting go of resentment. So I have to do my own practice as a, well, just to keep my own sanity first and foremost, but then and only then do I have anything to offer anyone else.
Well, it shows. You're walking your talk. And there's a lot of people who give lip service to these things, spiritual matters, and it's a joy to meet with someone who actually, you live it, you demonstrate it.
Well, what I've realized spiritually is all we really have is the present moment. And the more I can be present and honest with myself, the more I can be effective for myself, my family, and then, of course, the world around me. So I'm super excited about where we're at right now, beyond excited. And I get to connect with like-minded people. I think people like you and me have been out there kind of lone wolves, trailblazers. And now the time is coming where people are searching for this. Once the quantum leap finishes through the end of this year, I do believe that people are going to be needing the nature hospitals, whether that's Rhythmia in Costa Rica, which does breath work and ayahuasca and spiritual teachings from Reverend Michael Beckwith, or whether that's working with you or working with me, or watching a video or coming out to nature. They're going to need the nature hospitals, and we'll be ready. Yee.
We are ready, and I don't know if you've looked at your life this way, but it seems that everything you've done since when you jumped on the spiritual path, you got your tools, you got your practices, everything has led up to this moment where you're using every one of those things and expressing it as your fullest potential.
Including all the pain and challenges. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
those were what brought me my gifts. My curse
Yep.
was my gift. My anger
Mm-hmm.
issues from my trauma or whatever resides in my nervous system or DNA or any of that stuff that's in me, that is fuel, that's spiritual fodder for my own awakening. The more painful my life gets, the more I have to find resolve for that and keep clearing. So it's just that energetic light body that we're moving into with the Homo Luminous.
So has the meditation, thank you for saying that, has the meditation helped you to be able to maintain, to tap into those states?
Yes, yes. And I think where my meditative path has kept me is being an effective husband, father, businessman, leader, and keeping my vibrations clean and clear and presentable. The more I can do that, and if I have a bad day, film that too, because we're all human and we're all in the same boat. And so I want to provide that for my audience, that I am human going through all of this, and I use all these practices to stay present as a moment-to-moment meditation, and then be present and share with everybody else. That
Mm-hmm.
is, my whole life has turned into a meditation.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I noticed that when I cry on camera, it's cathartic for everybody.
Correct.
And I found myself on camera going, I wouldn't normally want to do this, but I'm feeling terrible, and my heart is saddened, and I'm pissed off about what's going on in the world, and no one's here in the house, so I'm going to just tell who's ever watching right now.
And people love it.
They love it. I get 100 hits. I go, my God, I'm just being myself.
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. And we got to let those tears flow. A lot of people have those all blocked up.
Yeah, that's the other water that comes out of us. And some people, they save it and bring it back in their mouth. They go, all water is holy. I'm not going to waste even my tears.
Yep.
The salt is the bitterness I had to endure, and I'm so grateful that I'm here now.
Yeah, the Taoists, I studied with a Taoist sexual kung fu teacher, Mantak Chia devotee, and she says the tears and the woman's juices are what it's called amrit.
Amrita?
Yeah, have you heard that?
Yes.
And is that what urine is also considered?
Yes. I know a lot of the Tantra practitioners, they think that a woman passes all this water out of their vagina, that it's, it's love juice. But the Hindus, it's urine.
It's urine. Okay. That's what I thought too. I was like,
yeah.
That's
Amaroli, they call it Amrita. Amaroli has all kinds of different names.
Does it come out of the same hole as for the woman?
Well, it's going to come out of their urethra. However it comes out, through the vagina, it's going to come out of the urethra, just like it always does.
Right. I guess they just lose control of those bodily functions then when that type of orgasm happens.
Well, you've talked to somebody, or you were in a situation and you peed on yourself. You go, God, I was so excited, I lost control.
That's great. Yeah, those are healing. The research that I've done, it's all healing waters. Healing.
So I've been taking the Shivambu message, and I'm very honored to do this because it's had me talking to elder teachers that have been urine therapists for 50 years. Dr. Radshak Malota and Paul Schaller out in France, and Doc Mike out in Chicago. I've been able to rub shoulders with these guys who I thought were superstars, and to meet with people like Harry out in the UK and John DePass and all these people that are outspoken about it. So, and I'm glad to report that we've come up with 30 million urine therapy users.
Really?
In 50 countries. Large population in Germany, large population in Africa, UK. I mean, they're all over the place, but nobody digs.
Nobody what?
Does the research.
Oh, yeah. And so, so tell us a little bit about your journey and your expertise and your discoveries and bad moments in life that brought you to your knees, that brought you to your salvation, that brought you to your realization, that brought you to your point now?
Well, I somehow made it through college when I was 19 or 20, and drug, sex, and rock and roll kind of took me off in another direction. I was majoring to be a radio and television. That's what I majored in, radio and television, and minored in English. So it's so funny, 40 years later, now I'm doing talk shows. I'm doing radio shows. But I almost didn't make it through college, but I got through college. And then I ended up with a friend of mine. We were painting Willie Nelson's motel in Austin, Texas. And he decides to head out to the Air Force without telling me. And I found an old lover who said, you should join this raw food community. They'll take you in, and everything's going to be fine. So little did I know that I was going to find answers to all these things, because I was 18. I got on the spiritual path without even realizing it. And I was in college. I was trying the spiritual buffet. I tried out Hare Krishnas. I tried out the born agains. I was speaking in tongue. I was doing Zen practices and Buddhism, and all kinds of stuff. And I experimented 20 years. And even though I was on the spiritual path and I got all the tools, it takes the work. I mean, people can say, well, you did this practice. Yeah, but did you clear anything? Did you go deeper inside your belief systems and the patterns that are running you? And so that's what the 25 years I had to go through with all the teachers to get to a point where, okay, now I got a handle on my mind. I got my body back. I've been doing a lot of raw foods, a lot of fasting, enemas, colonics, meditation, to get where I can put it all together and use that for myself and for my clients and for my friends.
I think that's important, because my wife's studying a lot of hypnosis right now. She's also going through her awakening, and it's beautiful, and it's painful being her husband as well, but it's beautiful. So what we've discovered, obviously, our emotions is just energy and motions. They come from our conditioning, our DNA, our nervous system, our trauma. And so our behavior is actually dictated by our unconscious and subconscious behaviors. And so what happens is we go along in life and then we want certain things, but our behaviors, because the limbic system is attached to it, and that's the way we do things, the way we've always done. It helped us when we were children, or helped our family lineage. And so if you're not reaching your goals right now, then that's what's in there. And that's what you're talking about, digging deeper into your beliefs, because these are where all of our stuff comes from. Our behaviors, our emotions, our behaviors. It's kind of like it's like a loop. And so doing that inner work to clear. So what were some of the things that you did to really go deeper and get honest with yourself? And
well, I got a kickstart when my wife passed away in 2013, and I knew I didn't want grief to take me out. So I found myself with 6 therapists almost every other day. I put myself right into therapy. I had friends who were doing psychotherapy, acupuncture, massage, mirror work, personal inquiry, and I just kept digging and finding where the pain was and where the hurt was. So I can not only get through it, but be able to help other people.
Yeah, that's such a powerful gift, to use something like death of a loved one. And that's usually where people have great awakenings. And actually you make me feel good, because I think we've got 3 or 4 practitioners on the payroll right now. You had 6, so I don't feel so bad. And I'm willing to face it. And even though my wife's stuff coming up, it's bringing up my stuff. So, I'm always happy to face it. And what I realized with my wife and I, because I work with the great Paul Chek, and he's got some incredible systems for personal, professional, and spiritual mastery. Paul, most people know Paul because he brought the Swiss ball, and he's a big rehab guy, and sports fitness is what they know Paul from, but his spiritual work is second to none. And so is his shamanism. He's very adept at all that stuff. And so we're going back to square one. What do I value? And we never worked that out. We've been together for 14 years. And so we're coming back to, what does she need? What do I need? What are our commitments to that? What are our vows? Because when I got remarried recently, my vows were really done on the medicine, and I prayed in all my spiritual guides and all my 3D good friends. I brought all their energy field in for that. And I had certain things that I want to bring into the marriage that had to do with my heart, my consciousness, and it wasn't really connected to her. And the ceremony, it wasn't really about vows. So we're going to go back and do that. We're doing the work. So we're working with all our counselors, and then
Nice.
we're working with a road that Paul Chek figured out to figure, your legacy out. So we're doing, what do we value what are my values? What are my values for the family? What are the values that I want to see out in the world? Then we come together, match those up, go through a couple of other exercises, and then we're going to work with a practitioner to pray us back in with our own vows to our own devotion and commitment to what we're doing. So we have a foundation of bedrock and understanding. That way, when things start going a little haywire, we can come back to our foundation instead of just run away or blame the other person, which, human beings can get very caught up with that.
Did you have the idea during you're with the same woman?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever have the thought during your marriage, or do you have it now, that you weren't in the relationship to rescue, save, or protect her, or to alter her in any way?
Well, that's one of the big lessons that we're learning, because I actually did the math with her, and I said, we've been together for X, and what's your methodology been? And it's basically been trying to change me. And I asked her, how's that been working out? She's going through that process right now. I'm human, so I still get caught up in that. But I've been able to work with much more letting go and letting God and surrender, especially when we went through the divorce. I don't know anything, man, because obviously at 50 years old, I lost my family. And so I was just like, okay, all right, I surrender. I don't know anything. Let me be grateful for everything I have, because it can get worse. And I've had it worse. And I'm just grateful for what I have, and keep looking into myself. So she's going through her big awakening and her process right now. I think it's very easy in our society to just, I dealt with this with my daughter this morning, because my wife was very strict about giving her real food and she wanted to bring snacks. And she's like, she makes me so angry. And I said, well, don't give up your power, to mommy, and just understand where she's coming from. And so we're actually learning all that right now. I'm actually doing some hypnosis with Dr. Patrick Porter and his brain tap technology. And I did a PTSD program the other day, and said he or she that bothers you, you're giving up your power. And so that's a huge level of responsibility, of human responsibility. And I do believe that is the maturity trajectory that humanity is going through. And you're seeing the microcosm of the dark shadow on that all over the internet, with Black Lives Matter and people complaining. And not that people haven't been wronged, but what are we going to do now? There's 8 billion people on the planet. I studied with indigenous elders. Ultimately, we are all indigenous. And now what are we going to do now that we know that we've genocided, everyone, everybody's enslaved each other. So, okay, so what are we going to do now? So it's all about taking personal responsibility and being present. And this all has to do with the mindset and our thinking. And I think victim consciousness somehow is propagated through the media to weaken the human being. And that's by design, but there's no victims. So that's just spiritual fodder for our own awakening, or as I've heard it's been said in the Vedic scriptures, it's the big cosmic joke. It's just God playing God forgetting that God set up these parameters and is waking up into them. And okay, so we just
and we're making this up as we go.
Correct. So if that's the thing, peace on earth is coming right around the corner, and we can have remediation, biomimicry. We can live in accordance, in alignment with nature, and get rid of all these power lines and have free energy devices and whatever we can dream up. And so that's where my mind is really headed for the future.
Thank you. Well, I've been toying with the idea that perhaps it's already been done, and all that's left to do is to shift our perception to wholeness and mastery.
And accept that the divinity is already here.
Yeah. And everything you need to be happy, healthy, and free is also here. Getting that to people is what we're doing. I found that for many years, I was a nutrition salesman. I sold a whole lot of nutrition. I learned all the superfoods. I worked in health food stores. Then at some point, I realized it's personal responsibility that's important, and that the nutritional deficiency might be another theory and a hoax. And so I went a 365-degree turn, and now what I do is I sell people on themselves.
Correct. There you go. And some nutrients may help sometimes, but ultimately you can live off the prana, off the land, especially if you're somewhere like I am right now. And so I think macronutrients end up being a lot more entertainment than anything else. At least that's where I'm at. And I'm down to about one meal a day right now. And I'd want to keep going lower and lower and lower. And so
I kind of went that way. I moved into, all fruit about 2 years ago. And I started playing with the idea that I only eat for fun or when I feel like eating. I know mothers who tell their kids now, instead of saying, what would you like to have for dinner? They say to their kids, what would taste good to you right now?
Mm.
And so they leave it up to kid to use their own tuition. And nine out of 10 times they say, I want some fruit, Mom.
Yeah. And, I got to tell you, I see a lot of people have hormonal problems on, the lighter diets. And I think because you have many more practices, you can pull off whatever you want. It really comes down to, I think, the urine therapy with the mineralization. And I think the sun and the nature and the breath work. I mean, these are the first forms of nutrition, right? Sunlight, oxygen.
And vitamin L, which we know is laughter. And with all these guys being so freaking serious about themselves, about life, even their spiritual past, I'm going, we got to find a way to lighten you guys up. You're never going to spread your angel wings and fly if you hang out in that place.
Well, that's what the Maori taught me. Laughter is the form of, enlightenment. It lightens you up. And hence why I do the certified health nut shenanigans. And my first video on YouTube, the name of it is called "Laughter is the Best Medicine." So I had a stand-up career, and I did stand-up for about 3 years and improvisation. And I just love a good sense of humor. I love some Cheech and Chong. I love some Tom Green. Just that offbeat, non sequitur, just like Andy Kaufman. Jim Carrey. These guys, they take you on a ride for what they think is funny, and usually it's pretty funny.
It's pretty, yeah. The same with Robin. I was following Robin Williams for many years because he would free associate. All of a sudden, he's talking about something, then a new idea jumps in his head, and you're just following his track. It's like surfing on the internet.
Well, I do that when people start getting serious about the coronavirus, and then I start talking about, forced vaccinations, and the dangerous thing in nature is anything that breaks the skin. And so you would want to read your ingredients and what do you need? Toxic compounds and foreign DNA. And if you're a Jew, you got porcine viruses. And so don't you not want pork in your system? And why would you? And so I start usually riding my bicycle and just blah, 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 and it just comes out. And in comedy, you have to trust yourself more. And usually the path of comedy is bombing. So when you trust that you can bomb and you're cool with that, then you can get up there and you're indestructible. And a lot of that, you got to wait around in a dark room and just to get 5 minutes and work out your material. And it's a path. It's about anywhere from probably a 7 to 10 year path to become a professional comic. And I just wasn't willing to go through the pain of the open mics and signing up and hearing everybody's bad jokes and then getting up there and being nervous and having to work out sometimes and not work out. Anyways, I've got all the viewers out there, and Sage, if you haven't seen them, I'll send them to you. I've got two of my live at the Sunset Strip. I've got Laughter is Best Medicine is my first video on YouTube. And then the second one, you'll get a kick out of this, Sage.
We'll love it.
I invented this alien character, Yerk from Uranus, and Yerk is with a J. And so he had these Porsche design goggles, and then I had this sweatsuit when I was working in Japan. I got it from a ping pong company. And I just put this spacesuit together. And anyways, I wind people up. I'll send you those. And I recommend everybody out there watch those, because if you really think I'm a serious leader or health person, that's the best video for you to watch first and foremost. That is my main qualifications, to not take myself seriously.
Well, when you get to the chapter in my book called The Piscabulary of Urinisms, I invented a whole new urine language, which has been pistastic and magnificent, and that set me up as the professor of orinisms, and that has allowed me to bring out the comedian. When I put on goggles filled with urine and I'm doing a video, if I'm standing in a foot cast with urine, or if I'm doing a foot soak, I know it's serious education, but it's also making light of the conversation about pee drinking, because people need to be able to break that ice into a new person when they talk about pee drinking with a sense of humor.
Yeah, so you do the goggles, you do like swim goggles, and then you put it in there and you look up and do all your eye exercises with it?
Yeah, I got the idea from a guy who goes by the name of We Love All. His real name is George Johnson. And what he does is he holds the goggles, fills it up with urine, then makes a suction over his eyes. And then he would do all the wiggling thing. And when he felt like it was long enough, 5, 10, 20, whatever minutes, then he takes it off.
Okay, so let's get into this before we wrap it up. Let's hear some miracles, man.
We have people who have healed multiple sclerosis. We have clients who have healed cancer. We have people who have healed diabetes.
Can you back it up a little bit and talk maybe some bullet points of, their trajectory? Because obviously it wasn't drink pee, they're cured. Can you speak into a little bit of that? Take us through a little bit of your process and some of the miracles that you've seen. Because let's really share people the gold. We just talk philosophy, and it may not match up to people. So let's talk results.
So the people who came to me who had a cancer, whether it's breast cancer, prostate cancer, whatever it is, they showed me how serious they were about doing the urine therapy. So we talked about, bless you, you're going to have to change your diet, your lifestyle. You're going to have to open up and clear some old beliefs. And we went through the whole program of what it takes in order to be serious enough to make the changes. And the people who stayed with me, they started noticing, wow, their brain got clearer, their energy showed up, their bowel movements were better, their back pain went away. It seems like the most part that I hear people drinking urine therapy, they say their nervous system has reset, their adrenals don't feel blown out.
And what level of urine therapy do you jump people in? Middle stream in the morning, some looping. You got to get them off the medical drugs, right? You got to get them off all the poisons, right?
Ultimately, we want to do that, but we don't want to do a major detox because some people's systems aren't able to handle that. So we'd have them start doing some changes in their diet. And by the way, the whole idea about mainstreaming, the middle stream, there's a lot of things that people still practice today, which were based thousands of years ago on superstition, because they used to identify the urine like the snake. The head was poisonous and the tail, whatever. And so they drank the midstream. But the people who are really using urine therapy realize that the water itself is the power. And there's no anything that could exist in an antibacterial, antifungal, anti-parasitic water like this. So most people that I associate with, they drink it all. They save it all. They use it externally. Just so you know.
And they're looping it constantly? Everything?
Some are looping it. Some are doing what one of my associates calls sip looping, which means you sip. Everything you collect, you sip. And the rest you store until you want to use it for topical uses. What I've been teaching is a method I call saturation dosing. That means you start doing more topical protocols, foot soaks, enemas, navel soaks, eye rinses, the whole gamut, so that you can get ahead of the pollution that's going on every day, either from the air, your friends, the food, your clothing, whatever. And people have a whole different relationship with urine at that point. Their health starts taking dramatic improvements.
And what kind of timeline do you start to see people moving around? And obviously you're applying all the holistic principles, and then like, how much are they drinking right out of the gate? Like, is there gradual or?
It's going to vary. As you said earlier, brother, it's intuitive water. So I give them guidelines, I give them suggested treatments, but ultimately I'm teaching them that they're going to find their own practice and their own protocols that work for them. I'm just going to guide them until they figure it out. And so some people notice it right away and they go, my God, this is what I've been looking for my whole life. And they never turn back, and they just steadily get better and better with it. And other people, it may take them weeks because they're secretly eating the same way or doing the same drugs, and they're not honest about it. And that's nothing I have control over.
Right. And so, yeah, every time I talk to one of my urine therapy brothers, I'm always inspired to do more. And I love the topical, especially my 3-year-old age stuff. Such power, and it lifts my mood every single time I put it on my forehead. It boosts my muscles. I can feel the testosterone, the HGH, when I have it on my body, especially if I leave it on and then go work out. The power is insane. I've never taken anabolic steroids, but I know when I feel like a steroidal energy, I feel like extra power. So I'm very impressed with it, and this is inspiring me to do more.
Well, good. And one of my intentions when I first thought of working with you is the possibility of collaborating on something that will help the movement.
Yeah, we can, we could probably do a series and maybe have my marketing team, have that as or maybe you can offer it as a free gift to people that purchase your book, something like that. We can put it on an unlisted page on the YouTube or something. We'll figure it out, but really serve the people. And you're inspiring me to do more. I've been a little reticent just because I'm out there just trying to get people to, breathe or get into nature, and urine therapy ends up, but let's get more into it as this awakening happening. So let's start working closer together. I'll have you on my IG live soon, and we can share all your story and your expertise. And then, just the future looks bright, and I'll have you come out for our men's group, when that's right. And we can have you on my Zoom meeting for the men's group, because that's international. We do that every other Saturday. So I'll have Curtis line that up for you. And
Please do.
Yeah, I just appreciate you. You work with Purium and David Sandoval?
No, but I'm familiar with them and his work, and I followed him long before he took over the Spirulina company out in Sedona many, many years ago.
Far out. I didn't know that old piece. I know he's been around for a very long time. And for some reason, I thought I met you at one of our gatherings, but we've never met in person.
No, it was probably my doppelganger.
Well, good. I think we're going to be working together a lot more, and we'll find, ways, and I'll get my team to work on this video as well and get that out to you and my audience. And I appreciate you, man. And is there any other last things that you want to say? Because I mean, you kind of asked me a bunch of questions, but I think you have tons of wisdom, and I want to interview you again and crack you wide open, crack your code.
Thank you. Well, I was going to ask you to leave the viewers with some words of wisdom to have a healthier and happier life. That's what I enjoy doing with people, is to have them find their answers. And and I'm out in the public a lot. And I found myself going to this intersection of the Trump supporters with the American flags and the blue thin line. And next to them is the Black Lives Matter people. And they're trying to, clash heads back and forth. And I would come up to the BLM guys and I'd say, I love your passion. I'm so glad you have something important to you. You're taking a stand for. And they couldn't say anything after that. Because I'm interested in the human nature in people.
Right. Yep. Me too. That's a big driver for me. So good for you for getting in the trenches and shining some light. My message to people is, just understand that you're a gift from the Creator. This world isn't what the society and culture has shaped you to, and let it get more painful, because it will wake you up. And so if you want to sidestep the pain, then come on the holistic journey with the rest of us that have started. Otherwise, go right towards where you're going, and that's going to show you the same place and awaken you. And if not, you recycle and come back and do it over again anyways. So, or at least that's a hypothesis. But just keep facing yourself and going after your dreams. And if you're not reaching your dreams, the hell will bring you to your dreams. So.
Sounds good. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for the time you took, and kudos to Curtis. Give him a hug for me. Being able to put this, you've taught me patience. This whole thing was about patience for me, because I was ready for 11 o'clock, but nobody told me it was 11 o'clock Sedona time.
Yeah, these we're about to change soon too. And Arizona is like in a weird state that doesn't change. So it's even going to get more, it's been easy for me for the summertime, but once it becomes winter, getting everybody on point with the time change, it'll be interesting. And I always have trouble with mountain time and central time anyways. So,
yeah.
Well, God bless you, brother. I appreciate you. This was great. And we'll have you on IG Live probably in the next few days. And that's easy. I'll text you, or you could text me, get my phone number from Curtis, and then we'll just pop you on. And I'm sure you'll entertain the souls of the peepholes.
We're going to have some fun. I'm glad to be able to have the time, because once you're up for world service, your time doesn't become your time. You're constantly in service mode. And I'm finding that I'm answering a call, I'm running out to do a house call. We're doing a care time group, and we're going to defy the state of restrictions and have 30 people get together with no masks on and pray devotional music.
Well, that's great. I have an event for you coming up that's curated, and we're going to have more than that. And you may want to come. It's going to be in California in October. So I'll send you that right away. And if it's right for you, you'll be there. But there's going to be some very forward thinkers. And I'll make sure that Mike knows who you are, and probably get you a speaking position as well.
Well, we'll feel right at home. I already feel right at home with you, or home with you.
That's awesome.
Let's see where our lovely conversation goes.
Yes. God bless you, my brother. Thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Much love to you.
Okay. God bless.
God bless.